The actor-director duo, Ewan McGregor and Danny Boyle, became very famous in the 90s, and for all good reasons. The two seemed to work together so well, as we could all see McGregor bring Boyle's characters to life in a very natural way. But they had a falling out, after which they didn't get in touch for years. So today, we want to take a look at what exactly went wrong between them. Let's go. To start with, Boyle completely looked past the actor. Ewan's career reached an all-time peak during the 90s, all thanks to his roles in 3 of the director's very renowned films. He starred in Trainspotting in 1996 as the movie's main protagonist, Mark Renton. Besides that, he also had significant roles in Shallow Grave from 1994.
I know you well enough.
Oh, you think so?
We don't know how much it cost us yet.
As well as A Life Less Ordinary from 1997. The actor had become so used to being cast in his favorite director's films, he genuinely enjoyed being part of his vision, and his dedication to the roles was clear in every movie, which is probably why it hurt when he wasn't asked to be a part of The Beach. By the time the movie was being made, McGregor had fully assumed that he would be cast in the leading role, but his hopes got squashed pretty badly when the director went with Leonardo DiCaprio instead. This entire ordeal bothered the actor so much that he stopped talking to the Danny, the man whom he had consistently worked with for almost a decade. He went on to do different projects in the meantime, until very recently, in 2017, the duo found itself reunited, all thanks to T2, Trainspotting. The two got to work together once again, and that's finally when things between them resolved.
Directing is not only having good ideas about shots, it's marshalling.
Interestingly enough, the movie itself was focusing on betrayals and friendships falling apart, which may have become a super personal topic for the two by that time. It wasn't like they didn't have countless opportunities to make things right before 2017. They just never got around to doing it. Coming up, both of them regretted their fallout. The two spoke to Graham Norton after the movie sequel release, and were super emotional about it. The actor spoke about how the falling out was a big regret of his, especially because of how long the rift went on. All the years that were spent with no communication between them could have been spent creating art together, and he felt that it all came down to how badly he handled it. He didn't specifically talk about the incident that led to this falling out, but he just talked about the shame he felt because of how he reacted. The director had similar words to say. He also felt bad about the way he handled the situation, and he explained how he wasn't proud of it at all. However, he did praise Ewan for getting through it in a much more graceful manner. Danny specifically talked about the actor's courage, especially because of how he stood up for himself and did what he felt was the right thing for him. Under pressure at that time, he found it admirable that the star went about it in such an elegant manner, even if he disagreed with this perspective. Not just that, but the Trainspotting director emotionally recalled the moment when Ewan was presenting him with an award for Slumdog Millionaire. The actor made a spectacular speech to announce him, and it had Boyle in tears backstage. Not gonna lie, but we're getting emotional just hearing about it. Finally, they had been so close to resolving things. The actor couldn't help but talking about the time when both of them had been on the same 15-hour flight back from Shanghai. The two were in first class, and his wife fell asleep, but his light had remained on. He could see the director's light on as well, but it's moments like these when it's too hard to make a move. They could have both talked it out and told each other what bothered them, and they could have resolved their unspoken conflict, but in the end, nothing happened. First, Danny's light went off, then Ewan's, and then both of them eventually went to sleep. The incident became yet another missed opportunity to correct things, and both of them regretted it later. But in the end, things worked out well for them. They may have missed working on projects together, but the actor's roles in the Star Wars prequels set his career off to a whole new level of fame.
Oh, senses! Flying is for droids. In the name of...
Similarly, the director's Oscar for Slumdog Millionaire also happened during the time of their fallout. We're just happy that the two kept going and did great things on their own. After all the growth and experiences, they came back to make the sequel, and things are all good now. Now moving on to Boyle's thoughts on British filmmakers. First off, he thinks that they aren't that good at it. The film director was definitely not ashamed to voice a lack of trust in the British film industry's abilities. This was bound to hurt quite a few sentiments, and we're sure he knew about it when he spoke at an event at the BFI Southbank. He was pretty straight up, speaking right after the screening of 28 Days Later, which is a zombie thriller from 2002. The film was part of the BFI's horror movie season, and he felt that it was the perfect opportunity to offer critique to himself and his fellow movie makers. We got a hold of his statements through Daily Mail, where he admitted that it was a pretty terrible thing to say. This was especially because he was present in the home of British film, but he expressed that he wasn't sure if they could ever be great filmmakers. He specifically talked about how Britain is known for its theater and pop music, which are two art forms in which they have managed to excel, and he openly encouraged the nation as a whole that those are the things they should focus more towards. It's fascinating to see a filmmaker talk badly about his own profession. Being an English filmmaker himself, it was nothing short of shocking to see him undermine himself and others around him, but maybe it was all in good humor. Honestly, it would only make sense if his words weren't meant to be serious. Following up, this doesn't mean he's giving up. Over the last many decades, we've seen his dedication to his projects. Even if he wants to be self-critical, his movies have a unique quality to them that eventually turns them into successes. Not to mention, he is an Oscar-winning director. He's still looking forward to projects, one of which is a threequel for 28 Days Later. For years, he and Garland have discussed creating a third film, but it now feels like the project, titled 28 Months Later, is going to become a reality very soon. Both he and his co-star for the film, Cillian Murphy, showed interest in working with scriptwriter Garland again for the next installment of the zombie horror classic To NME. They were being interviewed for the OG film's 20th anniversary when they gave us many insights. Murphy talked about how every time he gets to talk with Danny or Alex, he always brings it up. He has a special attachment to it because he showed it to his kids recently for Halloween, and they seem to love it. He also talked about how rare it is for a film that's 20 years old to stand out so well, especially in front of the kids. It's clear that all the people involved are excited about a third movie, and the project is almost guaranteed to be exceptionally good. It's interesting to note that Garland wrote the script for the threequel years ago, and Danny found it to be an amazing idea. Finally, the director wants to revive the cinema. He expressed how he was tempted to direct the script that the writer had written. Not just that, but he feels that it's the right time for them to get this movie done, and he has all the right reasons. Alex discussed how this film might be a hit and how it might return to focus, all thanks to the industry's current standpoint. He talked about how, generally, people need major incentives to go to the cinema to watch movies. This is because, as time progresses, there are fewer and fewer reasons. People can watch anything they want from the comfort of their own homes on their Netflix subscriptions, which makes it difficult for film distribution companies and cinema chains to screen films. They're trying hard to get people to come to the cinema, and unless it's something like Top Gun Maverick or a Marvel blockbuster, they rarely ever succeed. 28 Months Later, on the other hand, will be the third movie in a franchise that people are already familiar with. The relevance of the zombie thriller genre and the nostalgia attached to the movies will bring people into cinemas, and that's how they'll find success through this movie. We have all of our faith in Boyle, even if he has little in himself. All he needs to do is stop comparing himself to other filmmakers and continue to create magic. And that's a wrap, folks. What do you guys think about Boyle's recent projects? Tell us in the comments below. And as always, make sure to click that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on more updates about the film industry. Thanks for watching, and we'll see ya in the next one.